Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the Doctor, and as you can see by that golden award-winning smile, he's actually a bit of a hoot of a killer. I do think Doctor has a big skill gap that a lot of people do not reach. However, it's very hard to reach that skill gap, and even if you're at the peak performance of Doc, I still do not think he is anywhere near as good as some of the top tier killers. Now you're going to look at my build, and you're instantly going to see something completely off meta and unrelated to meta on the build, but we will get to that very shortly. Obviously, starting the build with going with as much protection as we can to generators, and we've got Ruin. Now we could have Corrupt Intervention, but unfortunately we don't have room for it, and Ruin is more of a gamble perk. If it lasts, it lasts. If it doesn't last, then that's just Ruin in a nutshell. What does Ruin do? When a survivor lands a good skill check, it is regressed 5% of how much is completed on the Jenny. Therefore, if a Jenny is, it takes 80 seconds to do a Jenny. If a Jenny's at 99.9% complete, so 79.9 seconds, he lands a good. All of a sudden the Jenny goes back 5% of 80 pretty much, so you're looking at about 4 seconds the Jenny will go back. If he missed the skill check altogether, he goes back 4% plus an additional 3%, so the Jenny will be flying back to a whopping 7% back decrease. So that's going to be huge if they start missing skill checks. Good perk when it works. It's luck based, so I don't like relying on it too much. Whenever you see me run Ruin, you'll always see I have a follow-up perk to assist, because I don't think Ruin will last more than 10 seconds for me usually. My follow-up perk, like I was just talking about, Pop Goes the Weasel. This is one of the, if not the best killer perk in the game. It rewards you the better the killer you are. The more you hook, the better the perk is. If you don't do many hooks, then it's not good for you. If you slug, then it's not good for you. If you actually know when to get the value out of Pop, then that just becomes a devastating perk and can allow you to hold onto the game. I used to love it a lot on Michael Myers. I still do. I love it on all my killers except for two. Those two being Hag and Trapper. I'd rather run Surge on both of those, so I don't have to come up to a generator. I can just down a survivor near it and then keep going about my business setting traps rather than wasting time kicking a gen, which could have been more time preparating or getting better positioning in the map. So I also stack that with Surveillance. But we're here to talk about the Doctor. Pop Goes the Weasel. If I kick a generator at 99.9% completed, it goes back 25%. That is phenomenal. That means 20 seconds of a generator just gets deleted. It'll have bright red sparks flying out of it, and then it will start going backwards, still at the default rate though. But it is huge to stop survivors from completing a gen right in front of you. The next perk you're looking at is Thrilling Tremor. I do recommend Thrilling Tremor on the Doctor based on the fact he's 115% movement speed and he's 110. In fact, I'll explain that real quick. So basically, the Doctor has two stances to use his ability. One where he's holding a bat out in his hand like this, and this is Punish mode. One where he's holding a hand out and up, much like the Nurse, which is Treatment mode. When he closes his fist, it takes about 1.5 seconds, and he'll do an animation like that. He will release a shockwave on the ground in front of him. It doesn't cone out from him, but it does come out in a generous sum in front of him. Any survivor caught in there will scream, putting their hands on the head, and it will animation lock them. They can't get in a locker, they can't vault a window, they can't pull a pallet down. If they got zapped while jumping in a locker, they're locked in the locker for 2 seconds. They can't fast vault a pallet. They can't do anything during that time. They can't even hook save unless you damage them one state. I think they can't hook save. Don't quote me on that last one. So basically, if I were to shock a survivor and he's standing in front of a pallet, when I hit him, by the time I change stances and hit him, he can vault the pallet. So keep in mind, for me to go from Punish to Treatment will take about 1.5 to 2 seconds. Okay, now the next part. While in Punish with the bat out, I'm moving at 115% movement speed. While in Treatment with my hand out, I'm moving at 110. So that's the Trapper's movement speed. That's the Huntress's movement speed. So you can easily swap between 5% movement, which is very, very important to know. So that being said, a really advanced, good Doctor will run a jungle gym with a survivor. He will shock to change stance to get maybe 1.5 meters, 2 meters, to change back to shock, to change stance to get another 1.5 meters, to change back to shock, to change to hit through a pallet. An average Doctor will shock and then try and hit through the pallet, and then get pallets done or break the pallet and keep chasing. A bad Doctor will shock, 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 shock. It just depends on how things work. Now, the Doctor does inflict 3 madness stages when he uses his ability. Madness 1, Madness 2, Madness 3. You can always tell what madness level you are by looking on the far right-hand side of the screen. There will be a brain, and that brain symbolizes what madness you're on. If you are in the Doctor's heartbeat while he's holding his hand up like this, you are going to be building up I don't even know what to call it. The shock kind of benefit, a negative penalty towards you. Okay, so you after about 7 seconds, 8 seconds, your character will scream and you'll go into stage 1. While you're in stage 1 as a survivor, you can never go back to not being under stress. Okay, so while in stage 1, skill checks, when you're going for a skill check, will appear randomly in one of 5 locations on the screen. It's not very often it happens. It's like 20% chance. It'll be in the center, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. It sounds really complicated, but like I said, it doesn't happen too often anyways. It's not to be worried about. While you are in while you're in stage 2 with the doctor, so he can keep shocking you, you can never leave stage 2 back to stage 1. Getting inside of a locker decreases your build-up, but at the same time, it's not really worth doing, however. Keep that in mind. So when the doctor gets you into stage 2, periodically an illusion of the doctor will appear looking at you. Can't do anything, but it gives the doctor an information of what general direction you're in. Okay, so if I shocked Megan to stage 2 and I lost her, if the doctor's looking like this, his illusion is staring near a wall, I know she was in that directional path when the animation appeared. It'll last 2-3 seconds and then it will disappear. So as a doctor, if I'm chasing Jeff and then I see illusion all the way across the board near a tree, I know that this is if they're the last 2 players, I down Jeff, I got a good idea where the other player is, or I know the other player is not doing a generator because there's no generator aura around there, etc. So it can be used well, but a lot of people don't really use it. Sometimes no shock doc's the best, and that means you don't put anyone into stage 1. And then when somebody gets hook saved, you come back while putting people into stage 1, and whoever doesn't scream, if your obsession doesn't scream, or whoever, that you can run it with make your choice. If you come back and somebody doesn't scream in 6 or 7 seconds, you know what locker they're in just by that information, because they will always scream. There is one counter to it, and that is Calm Spirits. Calm Spirits stops a doctor's scream. You will still do the animation, you will still suffer the penalty, but your character will make no noise. Also with the clown bottle, you'll scream, but you won't make any noise. You'll do the animation in a clown bottle. No, in the clown bottle you cover your face. Sorry, in the clown, you cover your face, and vice versa. Moving on to this perk, Thrilling Tremor. So that's pretty much the whole doctor's kit. Thrilling Tremor, what does this do? This basically means when I down a survivor and pick him up, all auras of Jennies that do not have players on them will glow white for 16 seconds. So I just down Jeff in the middle of the map, I picked him up, I look around, I see one Jenny that's pink, I see one Jenny that's pink, every other Jenny is now white for 16 seconds. I know that when I hook this guy, I'm going to that generator or that generator with Pop Goes the Weasel. So it just gives you good information rather than relying on barbecue and chili and going, somebody could be hiding in a locker, somebody could be hiding behind a gen. I know if you're on the Jenny. There is no counter to Thrilling Tremor. If you get off the Jenny, then the Jenny's sealed for 16 seconds, so you're wasting 16 seconds. There's no real counterplay to it. It's a very, very good perk. It is a better version of barbecue and chili, bar the blood points, of course. I recommend Thrilling Tremor on every single killer, even though I don't run it on every single killer. It is amazing. However, Thrilling Tremor. I recommend Thrilling Tremor on every killer. Barbecue and chili, I recommend on 2 killers, both of those being the Demogorgon and the other one being the Nurse. However, remember, builds are integratable and changeable. You can run barbecue on anybody. It's an information perk, but I prefer personally Thrilling Tremor. I found it gives me the most success at rank 1. This next perk is going to be hard for people to understand, but I will try and explain it. If you did not understand this perk at all, you could substitute out this for either Brutal Strength, Bamboozled, Sloppy Butcher. Make your choice. They're your best options. Bamboozled can allow you to shock somebody at the God pallet, vault the window, and M1 them before the animation locked, if they have already pulled the pallet down. So that's pretty good. As opposed to... This perk allows you to see pallets and window locations. When you hit a survivor, they will disappear, and then they'll reappear after 30 seconds. So that pretty much is windows of opportunity for a killer. On a killer like the Doctor, to be able to know the angle to aim your shock to hit a survivor or make him twist wide to get the hit through the pallet, I think this is one of the best perks for the Doctor. I've been trying to include Zanshin's tactics, I think that's right, on other killer builds, such as the Demogorgon. I've not been able to prevail, but I'm pretty damn confident that that perk on this killer would work really well. You're going to know everything that's going to be open there. Remember, it says all pallet, vaults, and window locations. So if all the pallets are gone and, Megan's trying to bait you with a flashlight, go for it. You're going to be able to see if there's any pallets around in 24 meters. It'll help teach newer killers a bit better, and it'll help improve your Doctor skill. If you're the best Doctor in the world, I don't think you need it, but I'm an okay Doctor. I can handle my own. However, I would happily replace it for Make Your Choice and play off that if I was using add-ons. However, the build would completely change. Now, This build could be one of two things. Now, I'm going to be looking straight away for a perk called Modern Abuse. The Doctor has a 32 meter tear radius, as you can see. When he changes stance, if he is using double calm add-on, this is a calm add-on, and I believe this is a calm add-on. What does a calm add-on do? Considerably increase your tear radius while in treatment mode, but considerably lower it while you're in punish mode. Treatment's when you have your hand out, so this is making people scream. Punish is when you can actually injure people. So if I'm running both these add-ons alongside Modern Abuse, that's a penalty. It gives me a bigger heartbeat. You're correct. It gives me a bigger heartbeat, but when I'm actually able to damage a survivor, smaller heartbeat, smaller heartbeat, smaller heartbeat. My 32 meter heartbeat has just gone down to about a 12 meter heartbeat. Then when I go Punish, it's gone up to about a 42 meter heartbeat. I could run that with a perk called Unnerving Presence. You already get the idea of where I'm actually going to be going here, guys. There are quite a few options as well. Discordance, as always, is a really, really good choice. I wouldn't really rely on Ruin, but Ruin would help you too. This is going to make skill checks trigger more often and make them harder. It goes hand in hand well with Ruin. It also goes good with Lullaby and Overcharge. However, it's better with Ruin because it's going to be harder to land a grade if they're constantly triggering, unless you're a really good survivor. If you're a really good survivor, you're still getting no enhancements for landing a grade. So it's not like, oh, he landed 10 grades, now he's going to get the Jenny done quicker. No, because you have Ruin up. There's no reward for getting a grade. It's 0%. And you'll obviously know the next place I'm going to be offering will be a game offering. This map is stacked on top of itself. There are a lot of pallets. You're not going to be able to see them because you took off the tactics. Don't get me wrong. However, you're going to have a very small heartbeat and be able to come around the corner. You could integrate and take something off if you did not like Unnerving Presence, because you're only going to be getting 50% value out of this. Remember? You're going to be running around in punish mode half the map. If you wanted to get full value out of a perk, right there you go. You could go Nurse's Calling. Remember what the map is shaped like? It's on top of itself, so you can see them healing around the board. You could do quite a few really, really good options here. Remember, there's no real point in taking Blood Echo. It's not going to really... I mean, it could help you. You know, Cruel Limits isn't going to really do much because it seals vaults, but there's a million pallets on the game anyways. It's not a bad idea. This would be a pretty damn strong game for the Doc, I'm not going to lie. This is going to allow me to creep up on gens people are on as long as I walk over to them while in punish mode, not treatment. Get a free M1. Could replace it with Sloppy Butcher if I thought I had magnificent tracking skills as the Doctor. I'm going to say my tracking skills as Doctor is about average. I could generally still hold my own depending on the map, obviously. But he does have the ability to track using his special ability, which will put him in treatment mode as opposed to punish. Alrighty guys, now that is the Doctor. I know he's a little complicated, but he has a huge skill gap and not many people reach him. I believe he'll be getting a rework sometime this year as well. Happy New Year to everyone. That being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys want to hit that subscribe button, subscribing is free and it supports the channel. It'd be amazing of you. That being said, we're going to be jumping straight back over to the live stream, which we do here 5 days on Twitch. If you guys want to pop in and learn things about Dead by Daylight, come over to the live stream over here at Twitch, like I just said, and say good day. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'll see you in the fog.